Hi, you guys. It's time for another reading. If you want a personal, the email's in the description, okay? Okay. What does the collective need to know? This is kind of, okay, we're going to have to pull a lot on this one. But it's something about like shitty, minuscule, spiritual offers. I don't know why I heard that. Like just shit, spiritual offers. What does that mean? What does that mean? And it's preventing you from moving forward, like inwardly. I don't know what that means. It just, we'll have to see. But it's preventing you from progressing spiritually. Shitty, minuscule spiritual offers. What the fuck does that mean? Let's see. What's this page of cups? There's something, I don't know, it's something very odd here. And it's funny because the energy this morning for me has just been very odd. It's been coming like waves, okay? It's something you're putting your time into, like as far as your spiritual journey. But it's like, it's weird. Let me see. What is the Six of Pentacles? What's the Sun? Okay, I see. I think some of you, you're supposed to move forward with your journey, right? With whatever you're doing, okay? This could even be like, all right, let's say you watched a tarot reader. Sometimes you don't resonate with tarot readers anymore because your journey has moved forward, right? That could be the same with certain deities or just certain practices. Like, let's say you were talking to Jesus and you're like, oh, that's not working anymore. You're supposed to move forward, right? Or let's say, for example, me, I started with Papa Legba. I wasn't supposed to go that route anymore. You know what I mean? There's something you're not supposed to be doing anymore. It doesn't work for you. You're supposed to move up the ladder, or if not up the ladder, you're supposed to go a different direction. You're settling in a spiritual working or just some spiritual practice that no longer serves you because you have outgrown that. I think, does that make sense? I think I see what's happening now. You've outgrown that, and it's keeping you stagnant, okay? There's a lot with this, though. It's more than that, too, though. What's this in reverse? It's really keeping you from reaching the divine status. You know what I mean? I hate saying that, but it's keeping you from reaching divine status of spirituality, right? Whatever the fuck that means to you. Or just new, it's just keeping you here. All right? Like if you do magic, you're supposed to look into a different form of magic, or you're supposed to do a more advanced level of magic, right? But you're remaining where you're comfortable. Maybe that's why I heard shitty, minuscule spiritual offers. I don't know. You're just remaining where you're comfortable, though. And maybe they're minuscule and shitty because, again, they're no longer serving you. They're not pushing you forward, okay? A lot of you could be Christians. I just heard, don't get mad at me, all right? It's very odd here. All right, anyway, let's see. What's this high priestess? Yeah, if you're wondering, like, hey, why am I no longer advancing? Why am I not learning anything? Why am I not seeing the changes or feeling the changes that I once felt with this specific deity, or that I once felt with this specific path? Why am I not feeling it anymore? It's because you're not supposed to be there anymore. That's how it works sometimes. You're not supposed to be there anymore. Okay? This is really specific. Okay, let's just keep going. Motherfucker. And no, you have not been abandoned. I don't know why I felt the need to say that. You haven't been abandoned. It's just that they're like, there's nothing left I can teach you. There's nothing left that I can show you. That's what your spiritual whatever the fuck is telling you. Whether you just solely focus on ancestors, that's perfect. You're supposed to, sometimes that's just not enough. Okay? Sometimes our ancestors are, and I'm speaking from mine, sometimes they're shit. Not really much to speak to. Just being real for some of us, right? Because you gotta think, why, I'm gonna be as touchy with this as I can, right? For some of us, right, you gotta really look at our bloodline. You really have to look at our bloodline, right? You have to think, is there much for me to offer to with my ancestors? Of course, reach out to the ones you don't know of, go all the way back and shit like that, right? But really think, though, if you're here to break the spell over your generation or break whatever the fuck, a generational curse is, if you're here for that, what happened with them? I mean, that's not for everybody. I don't know. That's really specific for someone, right? Your ancestors are not enough. Not for you. Maybe you have shit ancestors like me. Sorry, y'all. But, I mean, it's the truth. That was okay, whatever. What's the Three of Swords? And a part of you knows, you know that you're supposed to be on a different path or messing around with whatever different spiritual path you're supposed to be on. Oh my God, spiritual path. I'm going to say it 100 times, aren't I? You know it, but you're not going. And you might know it, you may not consciously know it, but you know it from when you try to tap in. It feels barren, or when you try to meditate, it feels like there's no more answers coming because you're meditating with the wrong deity, the wrong person, the wrong religion. It doesn't matter what you're in. If you're feeling this way, that's not for you anymore. All right. Look, Four of Cups and the Six of Wands reverse. If you continue to just do nothing, and if you continue to just stay where you're at, you're not going to get to where you want to be. Sometimes the spiritual journey you start on, the spiritual road you start on, is not the one you're supposed to stay on. Especially if there is a lack of, if whatever you're choosing to do has a lack of inner teachings, right? Because the real spirituality starts within. Got to start within. Here. I don't care if you never spoke to any deity, any Jesus, any ancestors. It does not matter. You can be spiritual without all that. That's all a choice. It starts inside. It does not matter. And maybe the more I tap into this, maybe that's what you're supposed to do. Maybe it's what you're supposed to do. Focus more within. Okay? I'm not saying stop fucking around with deities or stop fucking around with whatever. I'm not going to go through all that again, right? What I'm saying is look within. Or if you want to find some other god, goddess, whatever to latch on to, find one that's deeply embedded into shadow work. But you don't need it. You don't need it. All you need is you. I choose to do it, yeah. But before I hopped into a new practice, I had a really solid time of just me. Just spirituality with me, with self. Okay? I think that's what you're supposed to do the more I ramble. All right. We figured it out. We figured it out. There we go. See, because, oh, I done picked up the wrong, I guess I was supposed to. But anyway, see, because, see this? Without self, there's nothing. Without self, you have nothing. Again, it does not matter who you pray to, who you offer to, who you do this with, who you do that with, who you meditate with, if you go to church. If there's no sense of self, you've lost spiritually. You've lost. You've lost. You have to ask yourself, right? A good thing to ask yourself is, if I didn't have this practice, if I didn't have this God or goddess or deity or Jesus, whoever the fuck, if I didn't have this, would I be okay? Would I still be able to operate correctly? Fat hanging out. Would I be able to operate correctly? You know what I mean? Make sure you're not too attached to your ancestors, or make sure you're not too attached, right? That's why it's best to always find, if you do choose to work with someone, it's best to find those that are embedded in shadow work. And that's all kinds. All kinds. There's many, right? But I think with you, you need to, before you do that, this energy, you need to go within. Before you choose to practice with anyone else, before you light another candle. If you light candles, the only candle you need to light for yourself right now is healing, self-love, stuff like that. I think that's why this is so confusing, is because you're confused. So your energy's coming off confused. And why are you confused? Because there's no sense of self here. You've attached your identity to a being, to a deity, right? And again, I work with plenty. And I'm not saying you can't, right? I'm not saying stop, because I'd be a hypocrite. But remember, I did say I had a time where I wasn't fucking with nobody. It was just me, myself, and I. And I think that's what you need to do before you go into any other practice. And, you know, a lot of times we have to remember, right? Yes, we speak to Leviathan, Hecate, all of that, right? That's just the people I speak to, right? We have to remember that a lot of the times we're taking on that energy of that being, right? It's not necessarily them coming in and morphing shit. And yes, they do that if you believe in that. But a lot of times we're just taking on their energy. We're taking on their likeness type thing. You know what I mean? Like if you talk to Jesus and stuff, he's like, be like me and shit like that. It's the same with other shit, right? Rambling. That's just what I believe, okay? Weren't we doing a reading? All right. But I keep hearing, don't attach yourself. Don't make yourself that being. You're still an individual. These deities, these gods, these goddesses are just here to assist us. Our ancestors are just here to assist us if you believe in that thing. But remember, again, it's really just the likeness, the energy you're tapping into. Yeah, that's what it is. Like even with me, I just spoke about, Leviathan and stuff and how I came into contact with him and how I'm diving really deep. Yes, I did feel some paranormal shit, right? But at the end of the day, really, I'm taking on that energy. You know what I mean? So it's allowing me to dive deeper into shadow work. Do you see what I'm saying? If you want to be like Jesus and you be kind and turn the other cheek, you would take on that energy. Do you get it? That's why some of you, there's a lot of channeling going on here, all right? So just roll with me. That's why some of you, when you tap into your ancestors and stuff, be careful. That's going back to that energy I just said earlier. Be careful. Be mindful of your ancestors. Because all of our ancestors are not good. Like me, I come from a line of narcissists, right? I come from a line of abusers. That's why I've always hesitated. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway. This was not what I was expecting. But anyway, let's go. All right. What's the Six of Swords? Look, you can't make it up. Look, Six of Swords with the Hermit. Hermit is talking about inner reflection, self-work. That's what's going to get you. It's not that your ancestors or whoever you talk to have abandoned you. It's just that there's nothing left. They can't teach you anything until you teach yourself. It starts with self. It does. It starts with self. Okay? That's where you're going to find your peace. Is in here. And yes, you can connect with someone again if you choose to. But it's always good to take time and just be spiritual within. 1 second. Okay, sorry. I'm back. Where was I? I've just been rambling. Like, what the fuck? Okay, let's continue. I mean, is there really anything else that needs to be said? I don't know. Let's see. Anything else? See? Right? Look. Your spirit team, whoever the fuck, cannot help you until you help yourself. Until you study what's going on in here. And yes, like I said, some of these people or deities, whoever the fuck, I'm not going through that again, are deeply embedded in shadow work, right? But it starts with self. You have to do some inner searching alone. You have to. You have to. Maybe that's why you're feeling abandoned. They're trying to give you a hint like, hey, come on, man, do it. Do it. What do you do alone? Figure out what the fuck, I don't know. What did I do? I sat and I suffered. And I wrote a lot. I don't know. Maybe that's going to help you. Okay? I don't know, guys. I just pulled the cards. That's what some of you need to hear. Okay? But there's nothing else your deities, Jesus, God, whoever the fuck, ancestors can do until you help yourself. Okay? I'm repeating myself. I've said deities, spiritual path like 100 times. You get it? I think you get it. Okay? Excuse me. Okay, what else? Oracle. How ironic, right? Spirits of the other worlds, tell me tales of the unknown, tell me tales of the forbidden. Doesn't that kind of go along with this? The tales they're trying to tell you. is, hey, you need to do some shit with yourself. And maybe they'll come back. Kind of ironic, right? You need to do some shit with yourself. Okay? It's almost like the forbidden shit they're talking about in this card for this reading is like the forbidden shit is within you. The shit you don't want to see. The pain you don't want to face. Type thing, right? Okay. What else? Chant, hear me loud, hear me roar, for I am here in my truth. Hear me loud, hear me roar, for I am here in my truth. Do you see that? And it says chant. That's about you, darling. That's about you. Hear me loud, hear me roar, for I am here with my truth. That's about you. No one else, no other practice, no other deity, no god, no goddess. That's about you. Okay? The irony of these cards. Sex magic. I draw on my body with an invisible blade carved with the bliss of lustrous teeth. It is in the allure that I will meet blood and flesh. Blood and flesh. See this? What are we? Blood and flesh. All these cards are pointing to you. You. Maybe you need to masturbate. Maybe get back in touch with yourself. You know? I don't know. But yeah, that's the reading. This was the oddest, most odd reading ever. Alright? So, earth worship at the bottom. Might want to get outside, spend some time with yourself, okay? Do you understand? Do you understand? Did I break everything down? Because this was kind of touchy, right? For some people it's going to be. Thanks for watching.